Riley, your your facial hair looks stupid.
It's a little puby.
And that's it. You've got the title of the show. The best part is already done.
It's a little puby.
Can you please spell puby just for the
It's
the title's
pube.
sake?
It's pube with a hyphen and a Y.
Ooh.
Puby.
It has a hyphen.
This is a great follow-up to Ladies Week.
Zach, what did we come into?
I mean, the clarity is not all there for me. So it kind of looks like it's just a patch just thrown on, just like
That's all I can grow. I can't grow the sides.
like you just kind of threw it at you and it just stuck.
Well, did you ever see the very last prank on the original Jackass movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Please tell me more.
well, it involves, pubes and the face,
Oh.
It sounded like you didn't want to say that, but
like
you've already said-
like a personal hair transplant.
Don't you
I was
guys
just about
card
to
at
say.
the door here? Do you have a bouncer? Is there any security? You're letting young kids in off the street. What's going on?
To be fair, the pube idea is not a bad idea to to get into where you want to be. So Riley, thank you for sharing.
And also, to be fair, I feel like Riley
Hot tip.
he's in every door that we ever walk in as it pertains to the fantasy community. So I'm pretty sure all of us need to be showing IDs before Riley.
That's probably true.
The real question is, why is Riley everywhere?
What do you know, Riley?
I don't know. I'd like to hear everyone else answer for me. That'd be more fun. Why do you think that I was here first?
Because you have a tape on somebody.
No comment.
My guess is that you've got some old pictures of Scott Fish with hair.
Where do you think? Well, it's that. Where do you think I got my beard hair? I mean,
Yeah. Are you calling Scott Fish's hair puby right now?
that's not what I said.
I'm just gonna
welcome
step
into the open bar. We're live. It's Tuesday. It's sort of 9:30 Eastern, and week 1 was atrocious. Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to putting in waiver claims and do a lot of things to try and fix a lot of things. J Mike, my man, how is you?
My brother, another day, another challenge. Murphy is always out to get me, but that's okay. So, like you just said, I feel like in my dynasty leagues, I fared halfway decent. So happy about that. But in the ones like the big ones, or the ones that I feel like a ton of people pay a lot of attention to, i.e. Pigs 3 and Scott Fish Bowl, I got washed. So yeah, there's that. Other than that, though, hey, life is peachy.
I think I'm kind of with you. Dynasty went decent for me. I'm still quarterbackless in I'm a super flex quarterbackless in one of John Bosch's league. I still just have Phillip Rivers riding me. Riding me. Puby.
Giggity.
But I don't have a second quarterback, but I have Gronk and Tyreek Hill, so it just kind of helps. And you don't need a second quarterback apparently in a 14-team Superflex league. Redraft is bad though. We have guests. We have guests that know things about Dynasty, I guess, and they're dumb and they live on the streets of walls. That's the best I can do. So dummies, what it do?
What's going on? I'm not sure that we actually know anything. It's in the title, Dynasty Dummies. We don't know. We try to just say that right up front.
Yeah, it's not just a clever name.
It's a lifestyle.
Hold on. Are we supposed to take y'all literally?
It's a brand. Hashtag brand.
Brand.
You talking about your teams this week? I had the first ever loss with a team that scored over 200 points. I've never had that happen, and I saw more 200-point scores in this week one than any week I've ever seen.
So very important to note here, for anyone who listens to our show, Zach took a loss. I won a perfect 6 for 6.
Hey.
So listen to Kyle.
When we're debating things out, I think everybody now knows who to listen to. Just
Just
saying.
ask Samaje P. Ryan.
What up, Riley?
Oh boy. That one's never gonna tie. I saw a shot of him this weekend. He was not dressed. He was on the sideline. Doing his thing.
Gabe, I feel like we used to be friends.
Used to. Yeah, what a week though. There was some real sorry. We got another hey Riley.
Hey,
Riley.
McLovin's here. You guys.
Love it. Oh,
Well, hey guys, happy to be here. Just came in from the links. No, seriously, how many holes you get in today, Riley?
I had class all day.
Tell the
So
truth,
let's see.
Riley.
talking about golf, Riley.
Skip the first. Oh. Well, in that case, let's see. I don't know. Too many to count. I was prepping for tonight.
Oh.
Just kidding. Love you, Amber.
Wow, Wildin. Hopefully she'll never see this.
She doesn't. No, not a chance.
The
Oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to send her. the link.
Anyways, I'm good. How are you guys doing tonight? I sucked week one. I went 1-7 across my leagues.
Nice.
I played every single Alvin Kamara owner.
Yep.
That sucked. He also had Tyreek Hill in like half of them. So yeah, life's pretty good. At least my grades are good.
there you go. So last night, and shout out to the folks already joining us in the chat. Chris Svoboda is in the building. Shane, what up? Shane's in here as well. I actually played Svoboda in his own league, a bunch of us degenerates, and he had Derek Carr and I had Jared Cook, and I was for sure in deep doo-doo. And apparently Jared Cook, our Lord and Savior, took care of business for me, and Derek Carr also is apparently playing for my team under Chris's roster, so I'll take that too. So sorry, Chris. The Svoboda effect reversed, apparently, but yeah, that was fun.
The next Gronk. Quick reaction to that. Was that, overreaction to go, premature fabulation on Jared Cook this week, or is that legit at all?
I've been touting Cook in Dynasty. Of course, I don't draft tight ends, so you could get him for basically free before the season. But I like him to be somewhere near a top 10, 12-ish guy for the rest of the season. It's kind of where he is.
It's what we've always wanted, right? But it just never seems to come to fruition.
I wouldn't overreact on him. I don't know that we're going to see that kind of performance every week, but it definitely seems like he is a favorite target in that offense. So he should get some volume week in and week out. So yeah, he could be a solid play for the year.
I was also considering the corner. I don't know what kind of scheme they're going for, but I do know that the wide receivers did not get as many targets as I kind of anticipated, and the corners for the Rams are pretty good too. So was it more of just opportunity in that sense, or can he be a guy that is going to lead the team in targets, or second on the team in targets? I don't know.
Well, can Cooper be any more disappointing? Yes. I think we all believe that Amari Cooper is going to get more involved, so some of those targets will shift over to him. I mean, that's really the hope here. It's got to for that offense to fully click. They need one of the receivers to produce. Although they did just redesign Martavis Bryant, so
did they really?
Yeah, that just came across.
Deal. I just want out of this generation of like Sammy Watkins and Cooper. They stay, top 50 players forever, and then you just never get what you want. It's just kind of frustrating. I mean, why do we hang on for so long on these guys?
We got to be right, man. We got to be right. It's that take lock. It's the guy you watched out of college. We're, at least for me, I'm scouting players earlier and harder than ever, and so I think it's hard not to get emotionally attached to some of these guys. You want them to be your guy, and you want your guy to hit, and it's really hard to give that up.
But can we also talk about the fact of how, and I think there's a ton of what you just said, Zach, is incredibly true in that we want to be right. Like, right, we want to be able to pat ourselves on the back. I knew it. I saw that. I read that. Like, I knew that was coming. But even in the midst of that, like, I think a lot of, at least for me, a lot of what I see tends to be what sticks with me heavy, right? So when you see people do extraordinary things, and they don't do it just once, like they show a habit of doing extraordinary things, whether that be in college or rookie year, whatever it is, you expect that eventually, hey, they'll figure it out year 2, they'll figure it out year 3, they'll figure it out year 4. Okay, it's his contract year, he's gonna bet. Like we want to push that. And so I heard something really interesting from Colin Cowherd a few years back. I was listening to him back when he was still with ESPN, and he said, you want to be the people that get it right versus having to be right. Right. So being able to adjust however that looks to be able to actually get it right. And so you think that with what we've seen from Amari Cooper, that his ability will show. Now, obviously, he was up against a rock and a hard place, and I feel like there are all these examples of people throughout the league that we love, or that you can probably think of that you love. Me being Sammy Watkins, I'm like, okay, the offense just scored 38 points, and Kelsey was irrelevant. Sammy Watkins was irrelevant. And Tyreek Hill can't be guarded. Like, okay, I still love Sammy Watkins. I think he's going to be fantastic. But what do we like? I'm having issues with my feelings right now. I don't know what to do with this, because we've seen great things, and now I'm left holding the bag. And yeah, this is a time I feel like you don't want to overreact, but at the same time, like what am I supposed to do? Wait,
J-Mike, tell us your feelings. Tell us your feelings.
Look, man, where's the couch at? Let me get comfortable.
Yeah, but that to me is the rub, though, with this game we play, because what makes it so great and what makes it so much fun and what makes it so exciting is you get that emotional attachment to building the team your way. I mean, that's what draws us to it. It's that, we all played Madden, we all did franchise mode, we all built a team, and then all of a sudden we got a chance to do it, for the season with real players. And so there is that emotional attachment. By the same token, you got to be some clinical if you're going to win. You got to separate yourself from that. And sometimes, making that tough decision to get away from a player that you love is the right decision.
Hey, I'm still hanging on to Corey Coleman. he just signed with the Pats.
I was going to say, newly minted Patriot.
Yeah, I mean, it might work out. You never know. No, I mean, that definitely, you want to be right about your guys. You want to hang on to them, and you want to keep. We envision the ceiling. We envision the greatness that could happen, and so you don't want to give up on that. Everyone talks about selling, but I see a player, even a Corey Coleman, who could turn into this, could turn into this great player. You don't want to sell for a third, because you've already invested so much more than that into this player. And that applies with any of these guys. You don't want to just sell out low if it was a guy that you bought into in your process.
The end.
Credits. I want Riley to say words.
Words, man. What up?
Hey, welcome.
I don't know what it's like to love any players, especially Cowboys receivers who are on IR. I don't know that feeling. I don't know Tennessee running backs who play for the Rams. I just don't know. I don't let myself get attached to players. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Was John Kelly active yesterday?
You know what, Gabe? You and your stupid questions. No, he was not active. I got a nice notification yesterday. It said John Kelly leads in actives, and I was like,
I legitimately thought he would be. I was kind of
me too.
What intrigued me, was the snap counts on David Johnson and Trey Edmonds. That seemed very split. Well, for what it's worth, for a bell cow back, and I was like, I wonder if that could potentially happen with John Kelly, and but it,
I know it didn't happen.
I was curious because I think John Kelly was probably if the best running back that
never was. Yeah,
that never was. Yeah,
I mean,
there's still a lot of intriguing upside with John Kelly, though. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing I was going to say. I mean, after week one, like you've spent the whole offseason building your roster and you believe in your players, whether they are good or not, or whether they suck or not. And I mean, you can't just jump ship after week one. Like, don't make any drastic decisions. Don't sell off Amari Cooper for Quincy Enunwa. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but just ride it out for a little bit. And then if after 8 or 9 weeks that Cooper's still catching 1 or 2 passes a week, yeah, then maybe it's time to start thinking about selling. But same with John Kelly and the Samaje Perines. Like, there's still hope. You never know. Injuries happen and value rises.
Again, quick shout out to the chat here. A lot of action going on right now. Shout out to Brandon Rojas joined us up in the chat. What up, Brandon? Josh Bigby, what's going on? Stompy from last week's episode. What up, Stompy? They all a couple of really interesting thoughts that were brought up. Josh Bigby said this. He said just in regards to Derek Carr and just big contracts itself. He says it's the NFL itself that perpetuates it. He said giving them big contracts and putting them atop depth charts with volume expectations in regards to Amari Cooper. And here's the other thing that I found really interesting. So Stompy says this. There's a poll on Twitter going right now where Chris Godwin is going over Amari Cooper.
Give me Godwin.
I love Godwin.
I'm not even that crazy.
That's wrong.
Right. And I think what you had hoped for was we saw Julio on night one just be schemed for amazingly, right? And you hoped, at least I hoped, that even against a secondary that's pretty fantastic in LA, a defense that's pretty star-studded, that we'd see more in terms of scheming for Cooper, right? There's a ton of ways you can get guys open in the NFL. Like I'm not some savant, but like you can get people in motion, you can bunch sets. Like there's a lot of things you can do. They even gave it to Cooper on an end around at one point, right? So you're thinking, okay, he's going to get involved. Like this is going to be good. Yeah. And what did he end up with? 1 catch, 2 catches?
One catch for 9 yards and one rush for 9 yards.
Yep. 1 catch for 9 yards. So if you're not even playing in a decimal league and it's standard, like he gave you 0 points. And that's incredibly depressing when you got John Gruden, who you were hoping after how many years in the booth, like being able to bring us something fun, pairing with Derek Carr, a young guy who's energetic. And
maybe the real thing we should be talking about here, though, is who actually doesn't play in decimal leagues. Because that is a crime. If you are not in a decimal league, that is an absolute crime. You need to get out of that league
now, like immediately. I think as of my home league was as of like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was in a family league that I finally got converted over a few years back. But yeah, that drives me crazy. They get 9 yards and it's a 0.
Yeah,
That's not cool. Decimal. It has to be decimal.
fix it.
Can we talk about Connor yet? Can we go there?
Just been waiting.
We're like 5 minutes in. We can head that way, right? I'm not trying
Go
to
for
hijack
it.
the show, but
For it.
But
I-
James Conner, right?
I figured that was going to come up when we were talking about not Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, and the bell cow backs that don't come off the field like Gurley and James Conner. I thought that was going to come up.
Yeah, I've just been sitting over here waiting. I mean, like this is real, right? We're all buying into the god that is James Conner.
That volume is real. And what they say, he got 100% of the running back snaps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Steelers
30
running backs.
36 touches. I mean,
so what we thought was a Haley thing is actually just maybe a Tomlin thing or just a Pittsburgh thing.
Pittsburgh thing for sure. It's been that
So-
way for a long time.
It's a James Conner thing. He's that great. He kept all the other guys. Okay, I mean, let's be real about
Fitzgerald
his-
Toussaint.
Yeah,
Come
Stephen
on.
Ridley. I'm sorry, Jalen Samuels, truthers. But yeah, James Conner. So I mean, the real thing to talk about here, though, is the Le'Veon Bell holdout. How long is that gonna happen?
10
What?
weeks.
Yeah. What happens again after that?
So with the
Explain that.
so with the way the NFL structures the contracts and things, if he signs the franchise tag after 10 weeks, he's got to play at least 6 games. So if he signs that, then this season counts, and then he should be a free agent at the end of the year. If he does not sign that and come back to the team and play the last 6 games, or at least be on the team for the last 6 games, then this season does not count, and it just reverts, and they go back, and it basically
And they tag
is-
him again. And
Yeah,
we're here.
basically his edge of tomorrow.
Yes and no. The number I was reading something about this, and I don't remember all the details, but the numbers do change a little bit. It does increase, so it's
Just
not a
his
guarantee that
salaries
he,
change. They do the
Yeah.
last.
so it's not a guarantee
yeah.
that he gets that tag again. He actually could sit out the entire year, and they would have to choose to tag him again. So I mean,
Right.
that is a possibility too.
That would be nuts.
That would be nuts and counterproductive.
Well, although
yeah, go ahead.
we're thinking the same thing. It's he's protecting wear and tear on his body.
No, I mean for the Steelers. They did that again.
Yeah. If they tagged him again, even if he sits out all year, I mean, because he's just going to sit out again, right? How many times are we going to go through this? But it does make sense from his side of things. If you look at what happened to DeMarco Murray, he came out of that massive season with the Cowboys, and the market was soft for him. He did not get a massive contract that you would expect for a guy who just put up those numbers. And teams are looking at this kind of stuff with running backs, right? They're not stupid. They know that when a guy has that many carries, there tends to be some decline.
Well, he turned
But-
down $70 million over 5 years. So, like, what
But
else
how
does he
much was
want?
but how much was guaranteed, Riley?
I have no idea. Didn't look into it.
it. That 70 sounds real nice, but I'm curious as to how much was guaranteed. But even with that being said, if the Le'Veon Bell owner is coming to you in your dynasty league and he says, "Hey, I'll give you Lev Bell for your Leonard Fournette straight up," are you taking that deal?
No.
I think I am.
Are
I'm
you?
not. I'm out.
I think I am, but I'm not a Fournette believer, and I'm a believer in guys who catch the ball and run. Even though Fournette's shown a little bit, I'm still on Lev.
I'm so glad you said that. Speaking of catching the ball, the Lev Bell owner comes to you and says, "Hey, I'll give you my Lev Bell for your Jordan Howard."
Ooh. I'm still
Nice
taking,
pivot there, J. Mike.
I'm still taking Lev, but those two guys are close. Like, look, Jordan Howard, Fournette, they're both back end running back ones, middle pack running back ones. Like, it's not an easy decision, but I still think I'm taking the swing on the upside.
It came out recently that before Fournette got hurt in this past game, he was in for the passing down, and they intended for him to be in for the passing downs. Obviously we saw Yeldon kind of go off there, but by reports, and yes, coach speak, I know, but by reports, we could have seen a Jordan Howard type game out of Fournette this past week. So that's still on the table. He is a better pass catcher than everyone wants to give him credit for because he's a big guy. Big guys can't catch, right? It's always a narrative. But the reason why it's not even about Fournette so much, I am out on Lev Bell. I have been out on Lev Bell for a while, and I continue to be. He just has so much going on there between the holdout. I mean, what if he does hold out all year? Now you're losing an entire year of production. That is a value to me as a fantasy player.
So can I just give you a little bit of maybe Le'Veon Bell's thinking in terms of sitting this year and looking at getting paid next year? Because, I think the thing we're missing is when we're looking at this draft class of 2019, what are we talking about? We're talking big-time receivers, right? The free agent class of 2019 with running backs includes such stars as Latavius Murray, Marshawn Lynch, Mark Ingram's still there, Bilal Powell, Corey Grant. So it's not like
hey! You left out
Tevin
Coleman.
Yeah, he's there.
Yelled in. Let's not.
But it's not like he's going up against the cream of the crop. Le'Veon Bell is going to get paid next year, and he's going to be a horse for some team.
Yeah, I think all of those running backs are kind of just pretty good pieces to an offense. Maybe better NFL players than they are fantasy players. Like of those, like maybe Tevin Coleman gets a shot, I guess. I mean, people talk about it, but I don't think he's that kind of running back. Don't
sleep on
What the hell does that mean, Gabe?
What do you mean?
He's started a fire with me. Why do you not like Coleman?
Oh no, I love Coleman. I don't think that he can be a workhorse back compared to that of Le'Veon or David Johnson. That kind of.
He's the same size as
touches
as Le'Veon and DJ.
I'm not talking about size. I'm talking about running style and running straight lines and not being the greatest running back in terms of being able to handle a workload. I think he's decent in the passing game, very fast, but I just don't know if he's the type of dude. I just think he's a better ancillary piece, like especially with when you have like a Freeman and Tevin Coleman, like that 1-2 punch is so like different and unique that the Falcons really have something with that. And I don't know. What are your thoughts about Coleman being that dude?
I think he can be that guy. I just think Freeman's in the way. We saw Lamar Miller go through that. Obviously, Houston signed him, and he's better in a complementary role. I think Jerick McKinnon is the same thing as Lamar Miller. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that Adam McKinnon this year. I think Coleman's got the stuff to be a lead guy. Like he's 6'1", 215. I mean, yeah, he's a straight line guy, but once he cuts into the second level of a defense, like he's either going to truck you or he's going to outrun you. Right. And plus, like you said, he can catch the ball. He's great in pass protection, unlike Devonta Freeman. That's why you saw Coleman on the field in 2-minute drills, obviously third downs. So, I mean, I think he can be that guy. And I think he showed that at Indiana after Jordan Howard left. And, I can't wait to see him get a starting shot next year. Hopefully Jets, Colts, anywhere would be great to see him get 20 to 25 touches a game.
Pittsburgh.
James Conner.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, if it's Bilal Powell, Mark Ingram, if one of those guys lands in Pittsburgh, then that's the player then it is a workhorse back because they're giving him 100% of those touches.
So let me ask this then. With where how do I word this? When it comes to James Conner, We saw last season, Mike Gillislee had his breakout party, right? He got his opportunity. Young guy finally gets his chance. Balls to the wall is amazing. If you have James Conner, and I have James Conner in the league, and it's a trade that I thought I regretted. Now all of a sudden it doesn't look so terrible.
We talked about that.
Yes, Jalen Samuels and James Conner for Randall Cobb, and I gave Cobb away, and Cobb balled out, so I'm happy to see that too. But James Conner looks like that deal. So, is this the time if you have James Conner? I know you're not, Kyle, so you don't even have to answer. Kyle vehemently shaking his head. If you have Conner, is this the time to try to push those chips in? Hey, I'm done. Let's go.
If you get a good enough offer for him, yeah.
What does that look like then, Riley?
I would
as the value connoisseur right now on our podcast. What does Wall Street tell us in terms of?
Oh, Wall Street thing, yeah.
Why were you looking over your shoulder?
I don't know who you're talking about. If I could get Tevin Coleman and
of course.
I'm sorry. I mean, I think the value is there. I think you're selling high and buying low at the same time, which you don't get to do very often. But when you can, I think it works very well in your favor. But if I get Tevin Coleman plus, I'm all over that.
Well, but I mean, before you do that, you're taking a guy hoping that he's going off to another team that's going to be a perfect situation versus a guy who has the head start. Here's why I'm not selling James Conner.
Boy.
And
we're gonna be here a long time.
No, it's pretty quick. I think they talked about it on the Dynasty Crossroads pod with Jake and Peter. If you're not listening to that already, you should. We'll plug for them. They have not added anything real to that backfield since James Conner. I'm sorry, Jalen Samuels. And Zach and I argued about this earlier, but the reality is Le'Veon Bell has been risky for them for the last 2 years. They franchise tagged him last year. Conversations about whether or not he was going to report came up then. He's had drug suspensions. He's had knee injuries. He's not a guy that you can say, okay, lock and loaded. Le'Veon Bell is guaranteed to be here on the field for 16 weeks. So, knowing that from the Steelers' point of view, they haven't added anything else but Conner. And coming up through going into this season, with this holdout, with this looming very, very real, they didn't go out and go get a free agent to add. Behind James Conner, you've got Stephon Ridley and Toussaint and Jalen Samuels. And I do think Samuels will end up probably getting some pass catching work, but they have put the chips on Conner. I'm sorry, but that's what the team is telling you. They had opportunities. They could have grabbed Royce Freeman in this past draft. The opportunities were there for them to grab a guy. They didn't have to be first, second round, but grab a guy high enough to give him some real competition. They grabbed a gadget guy in Jalen Samuels.
Well, I mean, I think they grabbed the gadget guy because at some point, I think they knew the Bell thing was coming. Maybe they thought, there's potential they could get a deal done. Maybe he plays this year and then goes on in 2019, wherever. But I mean, during the draft, Bell was still the guy. And then there was Conner if Bell sits, then we have Conner this year. And if Bell walks in 19, then we draft somebody to pair with Conner. You're playing chess, but you're not playing chess 20 steps ahead. Like, you're just playing 2. So at the time, they still had Bell. Right,
they absolutely did, but it is such a real possibility. It's not like some of these other running backs out there that you feel really confident that they're going to be there for the better part of 16 weeks. You take all of the risk factors with Le'Veon Bell, and this is the same reason I've been out on him. But you take all of these risk factors with him as a team. You need to plan for that. You can't just assume he's going to be there for 16 weeks and not have a true backup plan. And they're telling us that their true backup plan is James Conner.
But I think Conner was the backup plan. you're not going to roll with your backup plan in 2019 and beyond. Like, you're going to address it to where, you have it down. So you draft a Bryce Love in the 3rd round to pair with Connor. Like, I don't think it's going to be Connor getting 30 touches a game for the next 4 years.
I guess this is just where I'm on a different side of things. I see a lot more out of Connor than and I know if Jake Anderson's out there watching, he'll agree with me here. Connor is very underrated. You got to go back a little bit and watch some of the pre-cancer film. I believe here's a little bit of a hot take, but maybe it's not so crazy. That if it wasn't for the situation that he went through, he might have been a similar story to like a Chubb. I think he has talent in that range.
But again, with Chubb, you're pairing him with a receiving back in order to get the best for your team. I hate being on the same side as Riley. It makes me really nervous. We agree. I just argued the same thing. I think that the Steelers thought they were going to get something done with Le'Veon Bell. If not, we've got James Connors, and that's fine. But I think next year, if it's James Conner is the starter, then we're going to pair him with a receiver who can do a little more, or pair him with a back who can spell him a little bit. I don't think you're going to see Le'Veon Bell touches. The same thing, if you'd had D'Angelo Williams for more than just the season, I think you would have seen somebody added to D'Angelo Williams, because he's not Le'Veon Bell, even though you could kind of approximate that for a short term.
But the Steelers want a guy that they don't have. And I mean, you and I talk about this a lot. Teams want to have a guy they can leave on the field. Yes, you may have a guy that in very specific situations you throw out there, or Jalen Samuels for to catch a pass. But generally speaking, teams want to have one guy that they can roll out there and not tip their hat to the defense that it's going to be a run or a pass. Part of the reason why we believe that the Patriots brought in a guy like Sony Michel, because as it stood, you had one guy running the ball and one guy catching the ball, and you kind of had an idea of what they were doing depending on which running back was out on the field. They do it with Le'Veon Bell. They want to do it with another guy, and yes, maybe they have another guy that's a little bit of a better pass catcher, but I believe with the Steelers that they're going to lean towards passing towards the guy that can be on the field all the time.
So we're all in agreement, Lev Bell to San Francisco next year.
No.
They would be the one to pay him like a 2-year deal and just like all sorts of money, though. That's I could totally see that. That's funny. So James Conner was number 2 last week, behind only Alvin Kamara in full point PPR. Where does James Conner finish? You guys think he finishes as RB1? If he's no. Let me try that again. Where do you think he finishes? Period. And that takes into account the variables for Lev Bell and everything else. How do you think this all plays out?
Season total or points per game?
I'm going to try to wiggle my way out.
Let's go points. No, let's just go total points.
All said and done, I don't think he's going to finish the season all that high, because I do think Lev Bell comes back week 11 or whatever and plays out his season to play himself into the contract somewhere else. And so you're only getting a little more than half of the season. But I do think he's going to be a RB2 with upside as long as Bell's out. I'm dancing around your requirements.
Sounds like it.
I anticipate the Lev Bell return in week 10 or week 11 that he actually can return. I don't know. That seems to make sense to me. So he gets to, preserve his body a little bit, but also gets his contract, I would imagine, next year. And so as far as, points per game for those 10 games, I can't see, if he gets those carries, I can't see him not getting, top 10 work. So volume, volume is king.
Yeah, the rub is Le'Veon Bell. If Le'Veon Bell comes back, then James Conner goes back
but why would he at this point?
The bench, and
if his point with the first week, like what's going to? I mean, the whole they can restructure or whatever, right? With the whole for the first 2 weeks. I know I read that somewhere. Is there some kind of restructure option as far as within the first 2 weeks of the season? Anyone know about that?
For Le'Veon, no.
Yeah.
He's the only contract he can play on this year is his franchise.
Yeah. Not, I didn't mean as far as a contract or an extension. I meant I guess I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, he can come back whenever he wants to. Like that's up to him. He just has to come back before, before he's got to play 6 games.
I think what you're talking. There's been some stories going around about if he comes back, they could choose to not activate him right away. I think that's what you're talking about because they actually have to structure a deal around that to pay him while he's not active, and that has to be structured when he signs. That gets into some of the real nitty gritty. They do have the option though to actually pay him more than the franchise tag. So if they really, really want him back, they could throw more money at him this year if they thought that was going to make it happen. But why would you at this point?
Right.
James Conner.
So hold on. Because I think there's just so many caveats to this, and no one would really give an answer unless they knew something. So let's just talk hypotheticals for a second. Let's say that Lev Bell comes back in, what week is it? Can he come back week 10 or 11?
11.
I think he has to accrue 6 weeks.
Okay. So he comes back week 11. Right now, and you know that. And then we know that Lev Bell is going somewhere else because that's all he's trying to do is get the 6 games, and Lev Bell goes somewhere else. What are you paying for Conner right now? Is it, if you know that information, Riley, are you still happy with the Tevin Coleman plus?
What am I paying for him or what am I taking for him?
Right.
I mean, I'd say
because you want Coleman, we'll say pay to give away Conner.
An early second to late first, depending on where your team is.
With Coleman or just straight up?
Just straight up. I mean, I don't, not Coleman and a first for Conner. No.
Okay.
Because I think eventually Coleman gets to that level, if not higher. Because I mean, just player evaluation wise, Coleman definitely above Conner for sure. And I mean, if you ask somebody that today, they're going to say, no, I had Conner way higher. But yesterday or 3 days ago before the season, everybody's, oh yeah, Coleman for sure.
You obviously don't visit the Dynasty Dummies cheat sheet. Kyle's had Conner ranked up there forever, man.
Well, Kyle's the exception.
I mean, his going price seems to be around a late first. I'd be mid to late first. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the market after this game. Zach told me he thinks there might be some valuations up near around Lev Bell for Conner, and I threw out the challenge. If anyone sees that, I want to hear that. Jake in the chat just said, "Sorry, Jim, I'm taking your job from you." But he just saw Conner for Geis. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh my
so
gosh.
now we're talking about that 102 range from this past draft.
And in a points per carry league too.
Yeah, I mean that's real value being placed there, but I don't hate it. I think I still want Geis. Yeah, I still want Geis, but I'm up there with it. I really do believe in Conner, and maybe I'll go down with this one, but I'm on board.
There's a pretty decent schedule for it too. I mean, Chiefs, which we kind of just saw all that with Gordon and Eckler, and the Bucks after that, Kamara and I guess just Kamara. Can't say anything about Gillisley. The Ravens, that's a pretty tough one. The Falcons isn't too strong. And the Bengals is decent, I suppose. But just kind of looking at it, I mean, it's kind of favorable in terms of that as well. And the Steelers are just a good team, so they'll have a positive game script. You know, it's gonna be running the ball when it's important. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't see Lev Bell coming back. Knowing that information, Zach, I just don't really see him coming back until week 10.
Yeah,
I don't see why he would.
I'm with you.
And that is such a beautiful thing with the Steelers, though. It's a perfect situation for a running back because they generally, because of that offense, they're in a positive game script. And so they will run towards the end of the game. That, you know, they'll have those opportunities. He's going to be in scoring position, and you can't stack the box against him. So all those things we talk about on bad teams, why you might want to avoid a running back on a bad team. You know, the arguments against Isaiah Crowell, right? We like Isaiah Crowell, but there's reasons to be nervous about it. If it wasn't for Darnold having a great game here, you could see where next week they're able. Well, okay, great's a little strong, but you know, came out pretty good.
Stafford helped him look good.
Stafford was so that's scary for Marvin Jones and Tate and all those guys. Well, you could see a situation where you have teams stacking the box against the Jets, and therefore being an issue for that second-tier guy like Crowell. You know, when we're going to talk about Connor as that second-tier guy, they can't stack against him, so he's going to have running lanes all season long.
Do you guys have you guys seen the leaderboard so far in terms of the top 12 RBs from last week? Have you guys like physically looked at it yet? Great. Riley, this is going to be specifically for you because you're a smart guy, you're in school, life's good.
Wow.
There's one team.
There's a lot of holes in his game.
There's one team in the NFL that is currently sporting 2 RB1s.
I know.
Name that team, Riley.
2 RB1s. Well, it's not Pittsburgh.
I'm on that team page right now, J Mike. That's
crazy. Are you?
How long do I have to think about this?
Because I wanted to see the snap
I'll give you 10 seconds, and I'm going to count out loud just to annoy you. 10.
2 RB1s.
8. Chat, can you help him out? 7. 6.
It's not the
NFC. 5.
Is it the Bears?
4.
Jake just got it.
I don't know.
Is it the Bears?
Jake just got it.
NFC East. 2. 1.
Really?
Oh no! Then there's 2 teams. I messed it up.
I think there's 2.
Yeah, there's 2 teams.
One I was thinking of.
My bad. I'm sorry. There are 2 teams, Riley. There's one in the AFC West. There's one in the NFC East.
Right. That's the one I was thinking of.
Well, then the AFC West one's got to be the Chargers.
Yes.
Right.
Eckler went off.
And the NFC East.
That's who I want to talk about too.
Oh shit! It's the Redskins.
How about them,
Peterson, man?
HTTRs. Adrian Peterson from the dead. Lazarus.
Which team is more likely to keep 2 top 24 running backs?
Redskins.
Chargers.
Oh.
It's a trick question because Samaje Perine going to be the 3rd.
I like that.
Well, let's bring back the full circle from the last time I was on the show.
Yeah.
So I guess the better question is we saw I don't even know if it's necessarily a question from. I'm just curious of your thoughts right now with Washington, and I think the Cardinals might be awful, so maybe none of this matters. But with Adrian Peterson was running strong, and Austin Eckler got a lot more work than anticipated. Who are you more likely to trust as the season moves forward, Adrian Peterson or Austin Eckler?
Oh, Eckler, easily Eckler. He's got
really, and it's easy. It's easy for you.
I don't know how easy that is.
Yeah.
So I just think we've had this. There's my pen. With Peterson before, has a good first 2 games. We're like, he's back. He's Jesus. He can do it. And then week 4, there's 19 carries for 31 yards. He gone. Like, I mean, we've done that when he was on the Saints. We were like, oh, Kamara's not going to get touches because Adrian Peterson's there. And we saw it with the Cardinals. Like, oh my gosh, they signed Adrian Peterson. And I don't know. I'm not an Eckler guy, but if he's going to catch 4 or 5 passes a game, yeah, it's Eckler.
I mean, that game script was extra duty though for him to even get the opportunity. He only had 5 carries, so like he had to get the.
Yes, but I think because Hunter Henry's gone now, like they just need weapons, and I mean Mike Williams isn't separating himself open anytime soon, so might as well scheme Eckler open out of the backfield.
The Mike Williams shade.
Wow, I'm surprised. I was surprised to see. I thought Peterson might have played some more snaps than that, but I suppose they took him out late, maybe. But he only played 53% of the snaps, whereas Eckler played 27%. I think that's low for Peterson, though, just considering that game script, and also high for Eckler, considering the game script. I don't know.
I don't trust either of them, but. That's like I want Chris Thompson, and I tweeted out during the Chargers game whispering Melvin Gordon is underrated. Like he's legit, man, and he has been, and he was the guy when Woodhead got hurt, and they were like, well, you're gonna have to replace Woodhead with something, and you replaced it with Melvin Gordon, and he's just been getting 50+ catches a year since then. Melvin Gordon's underrated.
It does seem like they want to take.
You don't have to say that twice for Jay Mike.
It does seem like they want to take some of the workload off of Gordon, though, and you know
that's fair.
That's why some of us bought into Justin Jackson, and apparently it's going to Justin Eckler. But yeah, I mean, I'm buying more into that than Washington, because I don't think either one of those guys are going to hold up through the season, Thompson or Peterson. You joke about Pirine, but I think you're going to see Pirine in there, and maybe even Kelly by necessity before the year's over, because these are just 2 guys. I think Peterson's going to wear down, much like we saw last year. And has Thompson ever finished the season?
I don't know, but those first 8 or 9 games are sweet.
Oh, they're phenomenal. Yes, don't get me wrong, but this is
just
what
like
I was
James
saying.
Conner. I mean, the first 9 games are going to be awesome. Something happens.
But I mean, this is what I was saying for Geis. Everyone's worried about Chris Thompson cutting into the pass catching work. Well, sure, he will for the 5 to 8 games that he plays, and then
it's Capri Bibbs time after that.
Yeah,
finally.
Didn't he end up on
that
IR or something?
Hey, maybe.
Chris Thompson has played 1 full season. 20.
Has he? Wow, I am shocked.
Yeah, suck it, Kyle. He has finished the year.
I was wrong. I am sorry.
One really interesting thing about both Eckler and Melvin Gordon, as their contracts currently constitute,
hey,
they are. How about it?
Oh,
they are both, and I find this as shocking as anything. But when I look at their pages here on Spotrac, it looks as though they will both be free agents in 2020. So 2019 is both of their last years. So I just find it interesting in terms of moving forward as we watch this landscape where backs continue to age and are devalued to some degree. If we get this year and next year from Melvin Gordon, or what happens? Are they paying him if the Chargers continue to win?
Extension after this season.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I just find it interesting because maybe they're like, you know what? Maybe we're not going to pay you. I don't know. I just find it interesting.
It's happening with Gurley and David Johnson. I mean, if he has another good year, he's going to be in that tier of running backs like that, and he's going to get an extension. I would think.
Does Melvin Gordon crack any of your all's top 5 dynasty running backs?
No,
not 5.
Does he have any chance to?
Yes, he has a chance.
Okay. What would he have to do to do that? Because it sounds like you're out on left
Pretty
guard.
much like, what can we do? What can we work
I'm just
with?
kidding.
I'm trying to get him in here.
Welcome to King Burger. How may I help you? But don't get too crazy.
What was the question?
We need Melvin Gordon as a top 5 dynasty running back before we leave the show, Riley. So
I'll see what I can do.
So here's the problem though you're going to have with that. Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
So
Not a lot of room to work with.
I can't do that. And then you're talking like Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt, who are right there. Maybe you take Gordon over them because of production, and I don't hate it, but
I haven't heard you say James Conner yet.
no,
did I miss that?
This is an old list, so maybe you have to redo.
I'll excuse it.
maybe they can be he can be placed in this large tier of I mean, can that happen, like 6 to 7 running backs? I mean, geez. It's
As much as I like Melvin Gordon, I don't think he's ever going to be top 5. Because, I mean, if he does keep it up this year and has a fantastic season, everybody's going to say, well, he's heading into year 5. When's the cliff coming?
Just enjoy that, Jay Mike.
Devontae Freeman cliff. I mean, similar to that or what?
Enjoy that. Let him be disrespected. Let people say, "Oh, there are 10 guys I'd rather have than Melvin Gordon," and then just roll him out there and kick their ass like that. That's all you got to do. Enjoy it.
Well, let's be real about it. With the ageism in Dynasty, he's going to struggle to be a top 10 running back.
Yeah,
next year. I mean, you start adding in these guys like Dalvin Cook and Fournette and the Hunt, all the guys that came in last year. McCaffrey,
Mixon,
and Mixon, absolutely. And if any of these guys that are still healthy from this draft class end up going off, then you're going to see them easily outside of the top 10.
What about? I mean, what about Zeke and David Johnson? I mean, we've kind of seen those 2 games already, and those teams are not good. They look like they're going to struggle to move the ball this year, and they're not going to get in a lot of games with a positive game script. Is it possible with a down year from that, just how people are with recency bias, that they drop a little bit? You know, Melvin Gordon has a top 3 year, whatever it is, and so then it's it's Gurley. I don't know where Bell is with this whole thing. Gurley, Barkley, Kamara, and then you can start talking about Melvin Gordon, I think, depending on some other guys that we've already talked about before. But I'm just saying that I think it's possible for those. I don't think they're untouchable, is all I'm saying, with what's happening so far.
If Arizona doesn't turn it around, then DJ will drop significantly.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the oldest in that group, if not the oldest of the top end group. And unfortunately, we value age a lot in this community. And if I do think that Arizona will turn around. I think they're going to be better than what we saw. But if they don't, he will take a pretty big hit.
David Johnson's currently 26 years old. Got that 3-year extension by the end of that. It's really interesting. Really interesting.
What's Melvin Gordon? Is he's got to be 20?
He's 25.
Yeah,
25.
So old.
I mean, they all came out of that same draft class, right?
Yeah.
He Gurley and David Johnson, Gurley and Melvin Gordon.
Telvin Coleman,
like 22 or something still. What?
Yeah.
That dude. That was fun watching him run last night. That guy is something else.
You talk about a team that looks scary, like when they get it humming.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The NFC. I love it. I love it. I feel like we have to touch on Saquon for a moment. And in doing so, the real star of the show being Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't said it yet. AFC South leading Jacksonville Jaguars. All those other fools lost out. Travis
Suckers.
May's out there eating mayonnaise. The Texans can't figure out how to get Deshaun Watson to move his feet in the pocket. And who's the other team? Oh, right, the Colts.
Well, I just really, we were happy to be here today, and I'm just happy to be back out there. My shoulder feels great. And,
It's a terrible luck, but it was my best try.
It was
Yes, so Saquon, I think at one point, rewatching the game, Saquon had like 14 runs for not very many yards. And of course, breaks a 68-yarder, his day's made, looks great, which is great. All those things are good, right? He finishes, struggles be damned, as we may say. We even saw Odell get his late. But just went up against top-notch defense. They didn't come out on top, but we saw them perform. So my question is this. When it comes to these rookie running backs, aside from Saquon, who's someone that you were encouraged by via week one? Because I feel like we got a lot of iffiness. And maybe you can say Kerryon Johnson by proxy because LeGarrette Blount goes down. I don't know. What are your all's thoughts? Because I felt like we wanted this to be something.
You got two guys on here who just crushed this rookie running back class from the get-go. Riley and I were talking about how you're going to be disappointed by this because you don't have running back ones. You have maybe running back twos throughout this class, and with the injuries, you may not even have that. I mean, that's the kind of the crux of it is this class that was touted to be special is incomplete. There aren't a lot of guys who can do everything, which is what makes you special in the NFL. And so beyond Saquon, I mean, for me, it was Sony Michel, who can be a 3-down back, but not if he's injured. And so there you have it for.
So I'm going to answer your question, Jay. Mike, the guy I'm encouraged by is Sony Michel because Rex Burkhead's a little banged up, and Jeremy Hill, who was actually looking like the real running back on the team, unfortunately is done for the year. Really sad about that for Jeremy Hill. I really hope we see him again next year. I hope this isn't it for him. But yeah, kind of a win for Sony Michel because the concern there was how clustered that team is, and you got one less option there. And who do we bring in?
Kenjon Barner, but that's a weird signing for Sony because he's a pass catcher.
Exactly, which tells you that Sony is probably coming back sooner than later.
Well, but Barner's a pass catcher, and so I don't know.
Sony can run.
He can, but he does both. I'm like he's
but he can run between he can take that Jeremy Hill role.
He's so much better in space, though. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I didn't love that. It didn't give me warm fuzzies for Sony.
With them signing Kerryon
fuzzies, huh?
With them signing Barner, yeah. Like, and not that I'm worried about Barner coming in and taking a role from Michel, but worried about Michel's availability because they sign a guy who pass catches, and I see that as being a major piece of Sony Michel's role.
So in reality, I would have been more concerned if they elevated Webb from the practice squad because they really seem to like him, and he would have filled that running role. But if Sony came back in a couple of weeks, they'd have to try to sneak him back on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So if they brought him up, that would tell you, hey, we need a guy for the rest of the season. By signing a guy who's off the street that they can cut in a week or two, that makes me read into that Sony's coming back sooner than later, maybe even as soon as this week. And we don't need a guy who's a true replacement. We've got a guy coming.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Kyle. I was looking at the chat here, and shout out to everybody else who dropped in. And again, if you're listening to this in podcast form, live on Tuesday nights, you can check us out on YouTube. where obviously we've got the live chat going, and all sorts of folks are popping in now. FF Trader Joe was cracking. Dwight, the People's Champ, was in the building. Cody Kutzer, what's going on? And of course, the executive producer himself, Jake Anderson,
Hi,
NFL
Jake.
Draft Soccer. He's come through. And I said, what else do we want to hit on tonight? Just before the shop starts to close down, whenever that is. He says Mahomes is allergic to checkdowns. That's really good. So the Chiefs, I think, are becoming or have the makings of something scary. When you put up 38 points, and that's a game I hadn't watched all the way back through yet. Gabe, is that one you caught yet?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I could, not from start to finish, but yeah, it was. You kind of got to see every one of Mahomes' plays because he only threw the ball 24 times. So it was something else. But Jake's or whoever said that is right. I mean, his average depth of target or throw or whatever is probably pretty big from that game.
He's got like 75 air yards per.
Yeah.
Just like it's like old Tecmo Bowl, man. You just drop back to the end zone and fire it.
Yeah,
I mean, just wait till
that.
one of those games where it doesn't work, and then see how people are talking about how he's the real deal. I don't know.
Are we concerned about the Chiefs other than Hill? Kelsey, Hunt, Watkins.
I think
didn't
they
laugh.
just scored so quickly, but with 15 completions and special teams doing its thing with Tyreek and him just getting the ball so much. I don't know. I think he is going to be the due to that offense, but I'm certainly not worried about the other players yet. If anyone, I think that unfortunately it's going to be Watkins to be worried about. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just gonna be over here in the corner crying.
Yeah. One of your patented shower cries, Kyle. This is the Sammy Watkins. This is it for me. This is that.
Yeah.
This is that. They scored 38 points and he has 3 catches for 21 yards, and I'm just like, no, this is not life. This is not life.
It still blows my mind that he's not getting more involved. I think it'll come. We mentioned it earlier, but if you have Watkins, this is not the time to sell. Don't bail because you're selling at such a low point. Wait till something happens.
Can I bring us way back to the beginning when we were talking about don't get too attached and trust what you're seeing happening instead of your heart? 2 years ago, I heard Tyreek Hill was not going to be able to produce because he was small and he was kind of a hybrid running back wide receiver, and he lit the league on fire. Last year, I heard he's not going to be able to produce because he's never been a wide receiver. And then when he started producing, he was so efficient and he was scoring from outside the 30. And so there's no way he's going to be able to reproduce that. He is, and he's doing it again this year. So stop telling me he can't do it and buy him because he is doing it.
He can't do it. I just had to say
he still can't score from inside the 30. I'll believe that. I mean,
exactly.
He had a 92-yard punt return. I mean, I tweeted out. I said, he had a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a punt return touchdown. I said the next drive, Andy Reid is going to dial up a play where Tyreek Hill throws for a touchdown and then drop kicks the extra point. It had to happen.
Flutie style.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to keep in context, both for the Chiefs and for the Bears. Both of these guys, Mitch started last year, but I mean, in reality, this is kind of a rookie year for both of them. They didn't let Mitch do anything. It's an entirely new offense. He has new people around him. And for Mahomes, this is he played one game last year. So this is really their first true season for both of them. And while we love all these options that they have on both of these teams, and we love these quarterbacks, we need to we need to make sure we stay in reality, and it's to be expected that they might have a slow start. I think both of them will pull out of it, and it will improve. But don't panic with any of the Chiefs or the Bears.
The two things. I'm sorry, I didn't know which way I wanted to go. Real fast, does Philip Lindsay scare you, Gabe, specifically you? Because I'm pretty sure you're pretty high on Royce.
I do like that football player.
Philip Lindsay gets 15 carries too, and he looked pretty nice in toting the rock, even in between the tackles, nice and shifty. Like he could be a problem. And obviously Devontae Booker, for anybody who was a Devontae Booker guy, I'm sorry, it looks as though he has been tossed to the side. I feel like Philip Lindsay can throw a wrench in the Royce Freeman plans.
That was interesting. I saw Royce Freeman play against a lot of stacked boxes. Or excuse me, I saw a tweet saying that, and I think that certainly helps his case a little bit. I think that when Lindsay was in, I think he might have had more opportunity because they probably weren't game planning for Philip Lindsay, to be fair. I think they were more concerned about Royce Freeman, Emmanuel Sanders, and Demaryius Thomas. They probably were not thinking about that man as much. But I don't know. I think it was weird, certainly, that the snap share was that. I don't think it was what we were expecting. I just see it as an opportunity to buy low, if you're still a believer for Mr. Royce.
Which you are, right?
Yeah.
I love Royce Freeman too. Like I thought he was going to come in and take the league by storm, and I'm with you. Although I also thought he was going to be a bigger factor and contributor in the receiving game than what we saw this past week, and so that gives me pause. And rest in peace, Devontae Booker. The Philip Lindsay kind of that changes the outlook for any of you Devontae Booker fans. I see you, JDB, in the chat. I see you. I'm sorry. I feel your pain.
He said he's heartbroken. That's so funny.
Am I supposed to be following the chat?
No, you don't have to. It's
okay. That's good.
It's better if you do. Pro tip.
Not
every time I talk, I take heavy fire, though. It's got to have some thick skin.
That you do.
That's the best part about it is when they tell you how wrong Zach is. I keep telling you I want to bring this to our show just so that people can sit there and tell you how wrong you are every week.
That's fair. I was going to correct you that Jake Anderson's new Twitter handle is @JakeAndersonFF, but I'm not going to correct you now. We'll let you go search out NFL Draft Talker because he's seriously dropping bombs on me.
What happened to NFL Draft Talker, Jake?
I missed that.
I'm very unhappy about this too. He needs to change it back.
It's one of my favorite handles as far as not the FF whatever handles. Like I thought it was legitimately good. So Jake, you think about that. I don't want to hear it in the chat. You think about that. We'll have you on soon, and you can have your.
Wow, I didn't even know this happened. Till you just breaking news.
He went corporate. The suit. He's got the tie on. Maybe a bow tie. It's Jake.
I'm telling you. That's what Crossroads does to you.
There's been a few of these guys out there lately that have sneakily changed their handles and haven't told us.
All they said was, right here. It's time. It's time.
It's gonna happen.
Riley, you now must change your handle to that right now. Go over to Twitter, grab your phone, go onto Twitter.
Can I even do that from my phone?
Yes.
QB McLovin. Oh
happen.
My God.
It's gotta happen for the rest of the show.
You're not gonna have new.
You're gonna leave it that
characters.
Well, to be fair, I'm 20. I'm gonna be looking for employment here in a year.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at QB McLovin. That's gonna be my email address too. Goes on my resume.
You should probably stop doing anything with the dummies if you're that concerned about your Twitter world.
I'm at Tacitus Assassin 13 and I'm at Puby McLovin. Peace.
We're just a bunch of dummies.
Puby McLovin at hotmail.com. Oh goodness.
What's your MySpace?
Oh no, that's where we get fancy. That's McLovin is Puby. You just got to switch the order. Keep it in.
Flip it on its head. The tight end wasteland. I'd like to hit that before we depart. Like I said before, Jared Cook runs the world. Commander in chief, I should say, of fantasy football. Jared Cook, 27 PPR points. It was numero uno. We didn't get a good look from our top guys. Gronk was number 2, which is fantastic. But Kelsey, I don't even see him anywhere. Wow.
He had
One catch,
yeah.
Just don't look.
Yeah, okay. I'll stop looking for him then. Zach Ertz, he was 8th. We literally had 7 total tight ends.
How many Colts?
That scored PPR double digits.
Right.
And 2 of them were Colts, exactly. And 2 of them were Colts. We're 3 of those.
We talked about that. I don't know. I can see that happening with the 2 tight ends out of Indianapolis to be, top 15, potentially top 12. That's pretty realistic to me. I mean, it's TY and those 2 really for the best receiving options.
So, and Shane, shout out to Shane. And Shane, I don't know how you say your last name, Hallam or Hallam. So please let me know in the chat there. Shane asked,
Hallam. He said, so with these guys, obviously you probably drafted them early, so the chances are pretty high that you're still starting them week in and week out. But your Trey Burton, your Evan Ingram, your Kyle Rudolph, these guys that you put probably, I would say, a mid-ish pick in if it's a redraft, or if they're on your dynasty team, like chances are they're probably your best guy. How do you guys approach tight end in the current landscape that we're in? That is just throw a dart and figure it out.
Yeah, don't draft them. Look, we've done an entire episode on this, and I gave you the who. I gave you tight end wasteland to open the show, and that's really what we're dealing with is if you're not getting Gronk and you're not getting Kelsey, I don't care about tight end until I'm down, picking up Eric Ebron, who nobody wanted. I'm picking up Jared Cook, who nobody wanted. Like, that's how I attack tight end now until the landscape changes, until OJ Howard decides to be Gronk and you see another influx of top tier elite tight ends. I don't care about tight ends at this point. I really don't. Like, there's not anybody who separates themselves out. And if you listen to JJ Zachariason et al. and some of the other guys who do numbers, you talk about the chance of hitting on tight end like 3 through 12, and you have an equal chance of hitting on those guys. So why are you paying up for the tight end 3 or 4 or 5 when you have the same chance picking up the tight end 12?
Yep.
I let Zach do the tight end talking. I do need to say, this is for you, Jake. If you drafted Evan Ingram to be your high-end producing tight end this season, you did it wrong. Sorry.
And
Hi,
Jake. Shane Hallam in the chat, he caught me, and this is exactly right. You could get Jordan Reed in that mid-tier of tight end. So he was going, I don't know, you get him in like the 8th or 9th round, and that was where – like, I'm very comfortable taking a swing at a guy who can be tight end 1 in that range. So I think there's value there.
Similar to Adrian Peterson, though. Jordan looked fantastic, right? And so I think it's I'm excited for what I just hope he's healthy. I hope he can stay healthy because he looks so good when he's right. I'm sorry, I just had to throw it in. He looks so good.
Dude, the touchdown was amazing. That's like the most athletic play all weekend. He caught it, turned in the air, got the ball over the goal line, over the pylon before he went out of bounds, before he was hit. It was incredible.
Fact.
With who?
Jordan Reed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Cousin
nice,
Jordan, you know.
nice if he could stay healthy for sure.
With them
I
rubber
think
toes.
all the time we're overreacting a little bit to Titans. It's been 1 week, we know we've seen Kelsey and Ertz ball out before, and we've seen Reed ball out before. So,
But you ain't seen Will Disley like this.
No.
shout out to the 406, by the way. J-Way.
Right. Bozeman in the building.
Yeah.
Stream tight ends against Denver.
Man.
All right, so you were just talking about overreacting. Isn't that why we're here today? It's after week 1. You brought the dummies on. Isn't it to overreact? I mean, James Conner.
All right. Yep.
I love how it always full circle. There you go.
You wait till you see the write-up for our show this week. It's just James Conner like 16 times.
Don't you know? Okay, you can't say wait till you see it and then tell them what it is.
That's a pro tease right there. That's why I'm the
Wait till
host.
you see
Those
this.
are anti-proteins.
Anti-proteins. All right, I'm out of bullets, Gabe.
All right.
I'm out of beer.
Yeah. Well, never a shortage on that. Is there anything else? Is there like what's your one waiver ad for the week? Because if anyone's, there's some dynasty ads I'm sure out there as well, but mostly, centered to a redraft question. What's a guy you want to pick up?
Kittle. Hey, Kittle.
Kittle.
I like that.
Hey.
Caught that.
All right. In less deep leagues, Philip Lindsay.
Yeah.
In deeper leagues, if it was cut. What's up?
How much fab?
What did we decide on, Zach? 50%?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
We decided if you're going to go get somebody, you're going to get the guy early in the year. I mean, that's how you do it. So look, if Lindsey's the guy you're going to go get, pony up.
Yep.
Bronco up, I think.
In deeper leagues, if he was cut, Corey Coleman. If you got a bench where you can stash him for a few weeks and see what happens,
make sure that's a league where you can do $0 minimum.
Throw a couple bucks on it. Be that one guy that throws $2 on it and you'll win.
Yeah.
I got 5 on it. Riley.
Ian Thomas.
Hey.
I've been an Ian guy since like 3 or 4 months ago.
You and these Indiana guys, what's your fascination with the Hoosier State?
I don't know. I mean, yep, that's it. I don't know. I mean, I liked his tape. He's athletic. That's about it. Plus, Greg Olson kind of left sooner than I thought. It only took 1 game. So enter Ian. Somebody's got to catch the ball underneath. It's certainly not DJ Moore.
Oh,
suck it. Everyone knows I didn't like DJ Moore, and
I love your week 1 victory lap. It's so funny.
Yep. Week 1 and I'm out. I had to take one somewhere because Noah Brown's on IR. John Kelly was inactive. Who else?
So wait. This really should tell everybody here just to not listen to you.
Yeah, that's fair.
So go buy DJ Moore.
Sure, go buy DJ Moore, but yeah, he'll probably be the next Antonio Brown. But yeah, I'm excited about Ian Thomas. The whole coaching staff likes him. They've talked him up since camp. I think Cam Newton likes him. He's going to need that guy underneath and, on checkdowns when Cam's rolling out and he doesn't run. So yeah, I mean, I'd spend 10 to 15% on Thomas and hope you can slip him through.
There you go.
Slip him through the hole.
I like the Ian Thomas call. That's a
I
good
do
one.
too. I agree.
Yeah.
And he had a nice catch in that game too, didn't he?
He did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Same amount of fantasy points as Travis Kelce, so take that.
Something interesting.
Yeah,
to point out.
the rookie tight end thing is always tough, but Ian Thomas is definitely one of my favorites from this class.
JDB threw out that Nick Vanette did outsnap Will Dissly, but Will Dissly got
that's a
60
weird one.
yarder.
Yeah,
he looked awesome on that too. It was funny. He was just beasting dudes.
right.
I just feel like it's really interesting because there's so many guys here. There's so many tight ends that we didn't talk about. We didn't say one word about Jimmy Graham. We didn't say one word about David Njoku. We didn't say anything about Ricky Seals-Jones, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, Antonio Gates, Austin Hooper. A lot of these names that were kind of buzzy for a moment, at least in terms of coming into the year, who had subpar week one. So I'm curious, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens. Like you said, with Jonnu Smith, who's now going to be starting, Ian Thomas, who's now going to be starting. I'm just curious who emerges, like what that looks like going forward. Okay, now
I think it's Zach was saying don't draft tight ends, and I don't think you can necessarily pick one up to just throw in your lineup for the rest of the year just because Eric Ebron had his good week, and he's probably going to be on a lot of waivers. You can't just pick him up and go with him the rest of the year. Or Dissly especially. I mean, it's just not going to work like that, and you probably ended up having to find the next top 10 guy for each week. So it's a lot about playing matchups if you're going late, those late tight ends or picking them up off the wire. So I don't think we've seen the best yet from any of those guys that had off weeks, and Njoku's just gonna be tough for him to get any balls, really, just especially with Tyrod there, with all the oh my god, he rushed the ball so much too, just like always, so no one's getting targets, but Landry, I guess air yards for Landry,
14. But I think you're exactly right though, and don't chase these guys, don't chase Will Dissly. Watch and kind of see the guys who pop that you didn't expect. See what teams they're playing, and then stream guys against it, because tight end's pretty streamable and it's pretty predictable. I mean, last year if you played a tight end against the Patriots or the Giants or the Browns, you had a tight end 1 easy. I think I streamed a tight end 5 doing that, like overall. And so do that. So this year, Denver is going to be terrible against a tight end. The Patriots are perennially terrible against a tight end. The Giants are probably going to be bad against the tight end again this year. Look at that. I put Jim Mike to sleep.
Well, it's a long one. As you know, my reality when I'm about to step back into after this podcast. I'm just I got this sick feeling in my stomach. Oh
boy.
Anywho.
Okay. Yeah. You're like, wrap it up.
This shit just got real.
It's just sadness. The bar. Thank you, Open Bar.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for Open Bar. I think we're satisfied. Yeah, fellas, you feel good? Anything you'd like to say? One last thing besides Noah Brown?
Nope, I'm not. I wasn't even going to say it.
I have something I want to say. Shit, it's not even that. It actually is a serious one. But now I have to say that, James. No, for real. J Mike here is doing something really cool over on the Dynasty Dummies feed, and everybody that's listening right now should go check that out. It's called the Dummy Blitz, and J Mike is not a dummy, but he agreed to that name, which was kind of surprising. But it is a 10 to 15 minute quick high level recap of the weekend, dropping on Monday night, so you can hit the ground running on Tuesday morning. Jake Anderson, who's in the chat, made the really cool graphic for it, which came out awesome. Thank you, Jake. And our Zach made the song for it. I'm sorry,
just can't do it.
Thanks
But
a lot,
no,
assholes.
it's awesome. Go check it out. Go listen to J Mike because he's awesome. He's better than us. So just get the good stuff in 10 to 15 minutes.
Can agree on all of those things.
Thanks, Gabe.
Hey, the Blitz is so awesome. It'll blow a tire off your car. You know, I mean,
Log out.
love you, J Mike. I thought that would have put a good spin on it.
It was good.
Somebody just kick Riley.
Spin on it.
Kick him out.
That just so sweet, so spicy. Love it.
See, if you can make them laugh, like that's all you need.
Good. I
That's
laugh
the
now,
satisfaction
cry
I
later.
get from podcasts with J Mike.
My man.
Okay.
All right, Hubie McLovin's gone.
Hubie McLovin, say your goodbye. Say things that you do and whatever you decide to do with that. Go to you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Hubie McLovin. Catch me on the Dynasty Wall Street. The Dynasty Deep Dive is the, how do I put it? It's 2018, so we're now trans. We've switched genders. So 3 cones gone. In Deep Dive is here. Yeah, that's about it. Chattanooga Mocs are 2-0. That's what's up.
UT chat.
Just to be clear, he has not changed that handle. So
I just want to know.
I'm updating this profile, just waiting.
I just want to know who's been slipping drinks to Riley. He's underage. Stop giving him alcohol because I don't know what that was.
Only at Mass on Sundays. That's the only wine I get.
Only acceptable wine.
Bless him.
Bless him.
All right, dummies, say things.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I'll
You
take
never
us-
get to do this.
No, I'll take us out. And I'm not even gonna plug because you should know where to find us. We're at the Dynasty Dummies, but seriously,
wow.
no,
Zach just big time here.
listen.
Yeah, you should know where we are.
No, look, if you don't come find us. But there's like a hellacious hurricane coming in, headed for the East Coast. And if you're down somewhere over there, the Carolinas or Florida or anywhere where it looks like it's going to hit, stay safe. If you can get somewhere, get somewhere. But that's like, I got family down there, and I'm thinking about, we got a whole bunch of podcast family that's down there, and so stay safe. That's what I got, man.
Love it.
You can find us at Dynasty Dummies. Sorry. More importantly, though, subscribe to the feed so you also get the Blitz show because that's the more important one.
Kyle's out here posting his podcast with hashtag whatever hurricane it is. Just savage, does not care.
You gotta do what you gotta
Whatever
do.
I can get for the clicks.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Be safe, Carolinas. Be safe.
Yes.
J Mike.
Well, another Tuesday.
Fire.
I mean, that thing blew clean off. And no one knows where it landed either. It's crazy.
Still looking.
Yeah, still looking. Thank you guys for joining us. To everyone in the live chat here on YouTube, thank you guys. Definitely a fun lituation up in here. To everyone checking us out on podcast form, thank you guys for joining us as well. Again, whether that be on Podbean, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Thank you all very much for showing love. Please rate, subscribe, review, all those fantastic things. You can find the show's handle at the Open Bar FP. Again, the Open Bar FP as in fake pigskin. My handle on Twitter is at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. And I'm incredibly indebted to the Dynasty Dummies for giving me a platform to be able to talk nonsense and ask my dumb questions on Twitter, as well as to do a little blur podcast that I think is going to be a lot of fun to get some quick hints in. So
truly thank you guys, and I appreciate your partnership, your friendship, and Gabe. Again, with the the situation that I've had as of the last several months, just random craziness of life. So it's good to be with you again, always on Tuesdays. It's good to have fantasy here, to be able to get away from the mess of real life sometimes. Yeah, I'm incredibly thankful for all of you. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Gabe, take us home.
Well said and agreed on all accounts. You're always good at that. You got a heart on you, J Mike. You got one right there on your sleeve, pal.
Still beating.
Yeah, this has been great. Good to be in season. The conversations are always pretty interesting. Whether it be dynasty and redraft and the clear overreactions to, or possibly not, to a lot of things. But
James Conner.
Yeah. K. Yeah, it's good stuff. We'll see what happens in week 2, to where we're talking up Jalen Samuels.
Tight end 1.
Tight end 1. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking, is that he would be more of a tight end. I know he's got the dual threat kind of thing, but I think that I'd be more interested in the tight end ability versus running back. Anyways, thank you all. We're here every Tuesday. I am the FF man bun. The man bun that speaks only of fantasy football. Follow me on Twitter for all of the bun man takes. And we'll see y'all next week. Live, 9:30 Eastern. Not going to be late, we promise. Put your drinks up, my people. You too, Riley. Are you on the phone? Riley?
Only Riley.
This is pathetic. What an awful show. We'll see y'all next week. Deuces.